Hey boys and girls, it is Miss Oates, and today we're going to be going over subtraction strategies for 3-digit numbers. Now, a couple things to remember. 3-digit numbers go from 0 all the way to 1,000. And when you subtract, you always put the bigger number at the top. Now, today I'm going to show you about 6 different strategies. So I want you to grab a sheet of notebook paper and a pencil or a whiteboard nearby, because at the end of this video, you're going to be doing a couple practice problems with me. So let's go ahead and get started.
Alright, so we're going to be going over subtraction strategies today, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, to subtract means to take away or to compare. So I have a couple of word problems that I want us to take a look at. So let's take a look at the takeaway word problem. It says Daryl picks 24 apples. He sells 12 apples to his aunts. How many apples does Daryl have left? Well, looking at this word problem, I know that Daryl sells apples, so that means he's getting rid of some. And they want me to know, I want to figure out how many has left. While comparing, if you look at it, it says Sally scores 20 points in a game. Sam scores 30 points in the same game. How many more points does Sam score than Sally? Here, I'm comparing how many more points Sam has to Sally. So they want to know 20 plus question mark. How many more points did Sam score than Sally? So something like that. So let's go ahead and dive into the different strategies. The first strategy is going to be stacking up. So I have 678 minus 239. The first thing I need to decide is which number is going to be biggest, and that is going to be 678. Whenever I'm using the stack it up strategy, I'm always going to put my bigger number at the top. So I'm going to write 678. Put my subtraction sign to the left, and now I need to subtract 239. Now I need to make sure that all of my numbers line up. So my 1s line up, my 10s line up, and my 100s line up. So I have a 9 in my 1s place, so I'm going to line that underneath my 8. I have a 3 in the 10s place, so I'm going to line that up underneath my 7. And then I have 200, so I'm going to line that up underneath the 6. And I'm going to go ahead and put my equal sign down below. So now I need to see if I can subtract the 1s place. So 1s, 10s, and 100s, I'm going to write that at the top. Now looking at my 1s place, it's 8 minus 9, but my bigger number is at the bottom. That means I cannot take away 8 from 9. So if I were to draw 8 dots over here to the side, and I ask you to take away 9, you can't do it. So I have to regroup. That means I have to go over to the 10s place, and I have to take a 10. So that 7 is now becoming a 6. And then I am going to take my 10 1s, and I'm going to add 10 plus 8. So now I am going to write 18 at the top of the 1s place. Alright, so now looking, my bigger number is now at the top, so I'm able to subtract. So 18 minus 9 is going to be 9. Then 6 minus 3 is going to be 3. And then 6 minus 2 is going to be 4. So my answer is going to be 439. Now, one of my favorite things about stacking up is I'm able to check my answer. And this is how I add to check. So I add to check. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my answer. So my answer is 439 to my smallest number, which is 239 plus 239. And when I add those two numbers up, it should equal 678. So let's find out. 9 plus 9 is 8. I have a 1, so I need to put the 1 on top of the 10s place. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. And then 4 plus 2 is going to be 6. So those answers match, which means 439 is a good answer. All right, let's look at the next strategy. The next strategy is expanded form. So when I'm doing expanded form, I'm breaking apart the numbers. So I'm breaking apart the numbers. In this case, I'm breaking apart 528 and 250. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to start with my biggest number, so 528. So I'm going to put it equal signs. I'm going to break it apart by its hundreds, tens, and ones. So there's 5 hundreds plus 20, so 2 tens, plus 8. All right, now let's go ahead and break apart 250. All right, there's 2 hundreds plus 5 tens or 50. And then there's 0 ones. So I'm going to just go ahead and put a 0 in the ones place. I'm going to put my subtraction sign so I know that I'm subtracting. And then I go ahead and I start subtracting everything. So 8 minus 0 is going to be 8. I don't have to regroup. But if I look over in my tens place, again, my biggest tens is located at the bottom, which is 50. So I'm going to have to regroup. But I'm going to go over to the hundreds place, and I'm going to take away a hundreds. So that 500 is going to become a 400. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I am going to add 100 plus 20. And now it's going to be 120. I'm going to cross out that 20 and I'm going to put 120. So now instead of subtracting 20 from 50, I'm going to subtract 120, which is going to be 70. All right, and now I just subtract my hundreds, which is 400 minus 200, which is going to be 200. Now all I have to do is just put my digits together. So 2, 7, 8. So I have a 2 in the hundreds place, a 7 in the tens place, and an 8 in the ones place. So that means 528 minus 250 equals 278. Awesome. All right, let's move on to the next strategy. All right, so our next strategy is going to be using base 10 blocks. So I'm going to draw out 397 since 397 is my biggest number. So I'm going to create like a mat real quick. So I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm going to divide my rectangle into thirds. And I'm going to put hundreds right up here, tens, and then ones. So since 397 is my biggest number, or my largest number, I'm going to draw that out in base 10 blocks. So I'm going to start with the hundreds. And I'm going to draw out 3 flats. So just some large squares. All right, so I drew out my hundreds. Now I need to draw out my tens, and I'm just going to do 9 stick figures. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, and then I have to do my ones blocks, and I'm going to go ahead and just do little squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, perfect. Now I am going to take away minus 175. So I'm going to start with the ones place, and I'm going to take away 5 ones. Let me go ahead and switch my colors. So I'm going to cross out 5 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so it looks like I have 2 left. Okay, now I need to take away 7 tens, and it doesn't look like I have to regroup. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a block around the 7, and I'm going to put a square. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, cross that out. So those are the ones I'm taking away. And then I need to take away 100. So I'm just going to cross out 100. So there you go. I've gone ahead and I've went through and I've subtracted through. And now I'm going to rewrite my digits again. So I have 2 hundreds left. I have 2 tens left, and I have 2 ones. So that means 397 equals 222. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our final strategy, which is going to be a number line. So boys and girls, the way I tell my students is that number line, you are counting how many steps it would take you to get from the smallest number to the biggest number. So in this case, my smallest number is going to be 887. So I'm going to put 887 as my starting point. My biggest number is going to be 936, so I'm going to put 936 as my stopping point. So I'm going to put start and finish. So again, I want to see how many jumps it will take, and I want to try to use the fewest number of jumps possible. So I'm going to think along the lines of making a 10 and making a 100. So I'm going to be thinking of tens and hundreds. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our first jump. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of change colors so that you can see the number of jumps. So I need to get from 887 to the nearest 10, which I know when I'm skip counting by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 would be my next 10. So I'm going to put a little play stopper right there. And I need to get to 890. So how many jumps is that going to take to get to 890? I can go 7, 8, 9, 10, that's going to be 3. So plus 3 jumps. All right? Go ahead, switch colors. Let's go to yellow. All right, so now I want to get to the nearest 100. So the nearest 100 from 890 is going to be 900. So kind of somewhere right here, I'm going to put 900. So to get from 890 to 900, that's a whole 10. So I have to skip count by 10. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to a red. Now I need to get from 900 to 936. I'm going to start thinking along the lines of tens again. So the nearest 10 for 936 is going to be 930. So I'm going to put 930 over here, and I have to figure out how many tens it would take for me to jump to 930. So I'm thinking to myself, well, 10, 20, 30. I'm holding up 3 fingers. Each of those fingers is worth 10. So that's going to be plus 30. Okay? And finally, I need to get, do black this time. I need to get from 930 to 936. So that is going to be plus 6 jumps. Okay? But I'm not done yet. Now I need to see how many total jumps that it took. So I'm going to write down here total jumps, which means I have to add 30 plus 10 plus 6 plus 3, and that is going to be 40 plus 9, a total of 49 jumps. So that means the answer to 936 minus 887 is going to be 49, and that's how many jumps it took for me to get from 887 to 936. Okay, so now that we've gone over all of these strategies, I want you to take out a sheet of notebook paper and some sort of pencil, and I want you to pause the video, and I want you to use whatever strategy you want to work out these 3 problems. Go ahead and do that now, and we're going to go through and answer these questions together in just a moment. Okay, so now that you've answered these questions on your own, let's go ahead and check your answers. So I like to do stack it up. So I'm going to do stack it up for this first one. So I have 905 minus 420. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to look at my ones place right here. So I could see 5 minus 0. Well, 5 is my biggest one, so I can go ahead and subtract on through. All right, and then I have in my tens place 0 minus 2. Well, I can't take 0 away from 2. I mean, if I have nothing there, I can't take 2 away from it. So I'm going to go ahead and have to regroup, and I'm going to go to my hundreds place. So that 9 is going to become an 8, and that 0 is going to become a 10. So now when I look at the tens place, my bigger number is up at the top, so now I can subtract on through. So 10 minus 2 is going to be 8, and then 8 minus 4 is going to be 4. So that means the answer to this question is 485. Now, if I want to add to check, I can. So 485 plus 420, my answer should be 905. Again, 5 plus 0 is 5. 8 plus 2 is 10. Put a 1 over the hundreds place. And now 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 4 equals 9. So yes, this answer is most definitely correct. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. All right, so we have 537 minus 192. What method am I going to use for this one? I think I'm going to do stack it up again because that's the method that I love the most. So again, I'm going to make sure that all my numbers are lined up together, which they are, and I'm going to double check. So 7 minus 2, 7 is my biggest number, so I can subtract. So 7 minus 2 is going to be 5. All right, 3 minus 9. Again, 3 is my smallest number. 9 is my biggest number, but it's located at the bottom, which means I'm going to have to regroup. So I have to go over to the hundreds place, cross out that 5. That 5 is going to become a 4. So now I have 10 tens. So 10 tens plus 3 tens is going to give me 13. So now in the tens place, my biggest number is located at the top, so I can go ahead and subtract on through. 13 minus 9 is going to be 4. And then over here, I have 4 minus 1, which equals 3. So my answer for this question is going to be 345. So again, I can go ahead and add to check. So I'm going to start with 345 plus 192. And when I add this up, it should equal 537. So 5 plus 2 is going to be 7. 4 plus 9 is 13. I got to put the 1 over to the hundredths place. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. So my answers do match up. Great. All right, I'm going to go ahead and kind of erase these two, because for this third one, I want to stack it up, which means I just got to move this. I want to do expanded form. So I'm going to move that over to the side a little bit. Perfect. So now I have plenty of room to write. So I want to do expanded form on this one. So that means I have to break apart this number by its hundredths, tens, and ones. So 442 is going to be 4 hundredths, 4 tens, or 40, and 2 ones. All right, 407 is going to be 4 hundredths, 0 tens, so I'm going to put a 0 right there, and 7 ones. So now I am ready to subtract. Okay, so I cannot take 2 away from 7. 7 is my biggest number, so I have to go over to the tens place. Looking at the tens place, 40 minus 0, again, my biggest number is located at the top, so I'm going to cross out that 40, and that 40 is going to become a 30. Now I'm going to add my 10 ones plus my 2 ones, and that is going to become a 12. All right, perfect. So 12 minus 7 is going to be... is going to be 5. Had to think for a moment. And then 30 minus 0 is going to be 30. And then 400 minus 400 is going to be 0. So now I need to make sure that I'm going to put an underline underneath the digits. I have to line back up. So I have to line up 5, and then I have to line up 3, which means the answer to this question is going to be 35. Again, I can add to check this. So I can add 407 plus 35. 7 plus 2 is going to be 12. Put the 1 on top of the tens place. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. Don't have to bring any extra hundreds over. So 4 plus 0 is going to be 4. So that answer is correct. Great job, boys and girls. And I am so happy that you have learned and watched with me and practiced with me. I hope you have an excellent day.